So welcome back to Electric Vehicles channel, my dear friends. I am Krishna Chaitanya Mandela. Today we have a special guest with us, the founder of Xponent Energy, Mr. Arun Vinayak. So Mr. Arun, can you please introduce to our audience?
Hey, thank you so much for having me here. It's wonderful to be here. I'm Arun. I'm the co-founder and CEO at Xponent Energy.
I will directly come to the point. How affordable your Xponent Energy lithium-ion batteries? Are they cheaper than existing grade A lithium-ion cells? Because you said your battery can charge an electric car in 15 minutes.
We are cell agnostic. So in our batteries, we use all types of cells, grade A, grade B, grade C, and we are compatible with all of them, although we prefer grade A. What we actually add with respect to cost structure into a battery is the non-cell components, which is thermal management and BMS. So that doesn't really add significant cost overall to the battery. However, we are able to drop battery size significantly.
My point is, are they affordable than the existing lithium-ion grade A cells?
So a battery has three aspects: cells, thermal management, and BMS. So we use all types of cells. So when you compare a cost of a cell and a battery, you must compare battery to battery. So a cell to battery comparison is not exactly it's sort of apples to oranges.
You're not selling three components separately, right? You're selling as a complete pack. I'm asking about your lithium-ion battery pack you're going to sell, right? So that particular...
Yeah, so I'm saying our lithium-ion battery pack has the standard cells that everyone else is using. So there's no cost delta that wise. But with rapid charging, what we're able to do is reduce the battery capacity. Right, so overall, on a per vehicle basis, our battery is much cheaper. So $1 per kilowatt hour, although we are the same cost, instead of 100 or 150 kilometer range battery, you now can live with a 75-80 kilometer range battery and charge up more quickly. Right, so overall, we are actually cheaper because our batteries are now downsized.
Okay, that's good. That's a good sign that the Xponent Energy is bringing up some affordable lithium-ion batteries. But my next question to you: how many years of research and development you did on Xponent Energy batteries?
Well, it's been a little more than a year, but the whole team has been building EVs for 7 years now. So it's a compounded past experience which is focused for the last 1 year.
So on the batteries you are started 1 year ago.
Yes.
But how can you say 3,000 life cycles? Have you done testing on that 3,000 life cycles?
Yes, so we actually have tested until 1,000 cycles, right? Which is almost 3 years worth of life by itself, right? And within publicly what we've published is the first 800 cycles of data. And if you look at our website, you'll realize that we've got not more than 3.5% degradation in 800 cycles. Compared to industry standard today, where you do 1,000 cycles, 20% degradation with slow charging. Right, so we've gone from 8-hour charging to 15-minute charging, and from 20% degradation, we are able to give you a 3.5 to 4% degradation.
Okay, so now coming to the, sorry to interrupt you, lithium-ion technology, already proven technology for 20 years. And most of the experts saying that the rapid charge will affect battery life cycles. And are you going to reinvent lithium-ion technology from Xponent Energy?
No, I think it's important to understand that we don't make cells. So even with respect to your first question and now, we buy regular cells. We slap on our BMS and our software which manages the regular cells much better.
So the magic lies in your BMS?
Yes, so the magic is in our BMS.
Okay. But you mentioned 3,000 life cycles of warranty, but what's the proof? Because you said just a moment back, you tested up to 1,000 life cycles.
Yeah, so generally when you do reliability testing in life, when someone sells you a car and they give you 8 years worth of life and 3 lakh kilometers testing, you realize they don't actually do that, right? So what you do is in the world of reliability, it's a statistical tool. So you test almost 10 different batteries for 1/3 the life generally, and you collect enough data confidence, and then you're able to plot it. Now it's not like they stopped testing. This is where we are at 1,000 right now. So over the next 6 months, we continue to be testing. So we'll obviously have the data in the back end as well as we scale up our on-ground activities. And today, just to give you an understanding, when you go buy a battery today, I don't think anyone gives you more than 100 cycles.
So you mean to say the car manufacturers are not doing enough R&D? For example, Tata Nexon EV, before they launched, they said 1 million kilometers of testing they did.
So when it is a smarter engineering approach to not necessarily do all of that. It's people generally what they do is it's called reliability testing, right? So even and Tata is obviously a master at it. They've been doing it so long, right? So you have 2 years, 2.5 years to launch a complete product. You generally only have 6 months to test. So a lot of times in reliability testing, you do a statistical set.
So from Exponent Energy, are you going to sell your lithium-ion batteries to OEM level, or for individual also are you going to offer these batteries?
For OEMs only.
Only OEMs.
Yes.
Okay, then my straight question to you, why should a company like Ather Energy, Ola, or even Simple Energy or Bajaj Chetak should approach your company, that is Exponent Energy, and they need to adopt your lithium-ion batteries because they already done lot of crores of rupees of investment on the lithium-ion batteries? Then why should they have to come to Exponent Energy, or they need to come to Arun Vinayak and ask for their technology?
There are all types of companies that will want to do a vertically integrated play. They're like Apple, and they will not want to work with us, which is fine. And there are companies that will want to focus on brand and distribution, manufacturing, the vehicle side technology, the drive side technology, which is motor technology, performance there. And not necessarily every OEM will want to own the battery and the charging infra. So we will, in some sense, manage that for multiple OEMs based on what they want to do. So all types of work. So if you look at the mobile phone industry, you have Apple and Android analogy, right? So there are different ways to do business, and I think we work for OEMs that want to sort of look at technology and a network that's out there. So.
Okay, fine. And I will ask you one more straight question to you. And you left Ather Energy and you started your own company. That sounds really good because you have some other thoughts. Do you feel Ather Energy is doing something wrong? That is the reason you left, and you want to prove them wrong, or you want to do something is more unique in your mind?
No. They both continue to be my babies. So it's not like I can choose one over another. I think you should detach yourself from personal egos and make such decisions. So I think my personal job as product head at Ather was stabilized. Ather's challenge is now not with product design development, it's now with manufacturing scale and distribution, which there are other people, my friends and colleagues, who are handling that. I think I was also interested to see beyond the top 10% market, can we look at building a technology for hundreds of OEMs to go electric very seamlessly and get all of India to go electric ASAP. So it's my personal ambition.
So do you think your baby Ather Energy will adopt Exponent Energy technology?
We're currently not focusing on the two-wheeler market very seriously. We're looking at three-wheeler, four-wheeler market, cargo vehicle market more seriously. So it's eventually we might work together, but that's not our current focus right away for the next 2 years.
Right now, the big four-wheeler players right now is Tata Motors, MG Motors, and Hyundai Kona. These are some of the big players in the four-wheeler sector. Are you targeting these big players at least?
No, as I said, we're working with three-wheeler and four-wheeler cargo vehicles.
Only cargo.
Yes, we're working commercial vehicles to start with. In the first 1.5 years, that's all our focus is.
So your main motto is only for B2B sector?
The technology works for everyone. The network works for everyone. Our go-to market in the first year, the seed market is the commercial vehicle sector. It's not B2B there also. There are also B2C customers there. But it is cargo vehicles that we're fundamentally focusing on, especially with last mile delivery. That's where people are most excited to use our technology. And like you see in any technology curve, there's always an adopter market and a seed market, and then there's a larger market that you go towards, expand towards. So we will look at other markets, passenger vehicle markets, two-wheeler markets, not very far away also. Maybe in a couple of years, we'll start focusing on those markets. But right now, as a startup, we want to stay focused and we'll be focusing on the car.
And where you are going to import these cells? Because definitely at a OEM level, or you started earlier, I mean, in this rapid charging technology, you are the only one come into the picture right now. You are young as well. So how come you're going to tackle this Chinese, the supply chain issues? Because right now most of the OEMs are complaining that there is some supply chain issues even for the lithium-ion batteries.
Yes, I mean that's a battle that all of us in the EV ecosystem have to work on together. It's not Exponent alone who can win it. All of us are dependent on supply chain for cells from China, and Exponent is not different. It's either China or South Korea. These are only two options. You of course have a few Japanese options as well, but they're quite expensive. So it's Exponent is not unique. In that sector. But as I said, our advantage comes from the fact that we can leverage the manufacturing that's already been established in Asia, and we can provide rapid charging on regular cells that are actually affordable. So at least we don't have the headache of having to set up manufacturing from scratch for cells, which is a really hard problem for any startup to do.
And again, one more question to you. So, till date, you haven't shown your product to us. All are some rendered images and videos. Then how can we expect Exponent Energy going to be seriously working on this rapid charging?
They're not renders, they're videos. Huge difference, and you don't have to take it seriously. Maybe you can wait, and when it gets to the field.
Why there is not a physical format then?
Because hardware takes time, deep tech takes time. So we've been working on this.
But you promised to deliver by 2022.
Yeah, that's next year, right?
Yeah. So 2 months are sufficient for you.
Yeah, so we're going to start field deployment starting Jan-Feb, and then you'll start seeing us roll out slowly, one city by city. Obviously, if you come to a lab, if you're building vehicles, you're OEM out there, then please reach out to us. You can reach out to us at partnerships@exponent.energy. And I think the people who need to trust in our technology have come, seen it, and have been working with us. So they've got multiple partners signed up already. To the larger world, we will be launching this in around Jan-Feb.
So what is the capacity you're looking for? Because you're promising 15 minutes of rapid charge. Definitely it's a revolution. If that really comes true, Indian EV ecosystem going to be completely changed. But what kind of a charger, I mean what kind of rated charges is it going to be a 150 kilowatt or 200 kilowatt, something like that? Even more than that?
So we have a scalable battery and charger capacity, right? So you need to match, when I say 15-minute charging for a two-wheeler, you need a 10 kilowatt hour charger. 15-minute charging for a three-wheeler, you need a 40 kilowatt charging station. And 15-minute charging for a four-wheeler, you need a 90 kilowatt charging station. So the largest charging station we built until now is actually a 90 kilowatt charging station. But we're also focusing on larger vehicles and larger charging stations in the future.
So far LTO, sorry to interrupt, so far LTO, lithium titanate batteries, these are actually the fastest charging batteries. Even in your website also you have mentioned that. But to be honest, now you are going for a rapid charging of 15 minutes. I mean, what kind of anode or cathode material? Because again you are saying that the magic completely lies in the BMS. So are you going to patent for this and you going to sell it, or you just want to limit yourself?
I think we are exploring other models, which is beyond just building batteries ourselves. Can we work with other battery manufacturers to provide our BMS? That's definitely something we want to do. Except it gets a little complicated on who owns warranty. So technically it's doable. It's more of a business decision of when we do it. It's not a question of if we do it. We'll definitely do it, but it's a question of whether we do it next year or a year later.
Okay, let me put up this question like this. For example, with Exponent Energy BMS, can a average battery cells also can do miracles, or else they need to select a quality cell?
No, that's what I'm trying to say. We use regular cells. I mean, you can't use bad cells and try to do magic with it. Right? You have to use basic good cells.
What do you mean by, what is the difference between a bad and good cell? Is it going to be A grade cells? For example, in the market from China.
But I'm saying you can use regular LFP and NMC cells, which are affordable and easily available out there in the market. And you can use grade A or grade B, and we've generally tested on both. And we are able to rapid charge them consistently without degradation in cell life. The advantage of using Exponent BMS is you don't need to use something like LTO or supercapacitors, which are very expensive, almost 4 to 5x more expensive, and they're also much heavier. They're almost 3 times heavier on a watt per kg. So their densities are very low, making them very heavy. So with our approach, you can use regular cells, which means that it's cheap, and you do not take a hit on energy density, right? So that's, we believe, the most scalable solution for rapid charging.
So, I mean, after discussing with you, I came to know some important points that your magic lies in the BMS. So, why don't you offer, for example, all the existing two-wheelers or three-wheelers? You can do some wonders in the EV industry by giving that kind of BMS to their other existing top electric two-wheeler OEMs or three-wheeler OEMs that can improve the electric vehicle ecosystem immediately. Is it why you are limited yourself to the commercial sector? Why you are not giving that such a miraculous opportunity to the existing electric vehicle makers?
So while there's the magic happening in the BMS, you also need to take care of a whole bunch of things. You can't just remove BMS from a battery and put this BMS in. It doesn't just magically work, right? You need to ensure the foundation is also strong. Basic things like thermals, is that taken care of, right? Is the IP rating of the battery taken care of? Is the mechanical vibration aspects of the battery taken care of? These are things that you have to do anyway, not just because you're using an exponent battery, a BMS, right? But once if that foundation is very, very strong, then yes, you can take a BMS and rapid charge it. As I said, this is something we want to do in the future. But right now, all these questions you asked me about warranty and testing and how you're going to prove it, it's just easier for us to give the whole battery, test the whole battery, and say, hey, here's 1,000 cycles worth of testing, right? Which is why as a startup, it's easier and quicker for us to get to.
Have you ever tested your BMS, battery on an electric vehicle?
Yes. So we actually tested. I'm not sure if you've seen the video of our Tata Ace equivalent vehicle that we built. It's sort of a retrofit that we built.
But how many years you did? That is the point. There is a difference here. I mean, you tested for a couple of weeks, couple of months, and couple of years. How long you done the testing? I mean, the dynamic testing.
Right. So that's what I think. How to test is a separate topic, and maybe we can get into the depth of it at a different date, and maybe I can explain much better as to how testing needs to be done. As I said, trying to put something on the road and driving and saying, hey, I've got confidence is it's like searching for the needle in the haystack, right? Very good companies like Tata, like us, like everyone else, we do a lot of lab testing, a lot of we call it stress testing, we call it reliability testing, where we can actually stress the systems almost 5 times more in a lab condition than out there in the field. Because how can you test something on the field because you're just randomly driving around, right? So when I say we've tested for 800 cycles, 1,000 cycles, it's in lab conditions where we actually stress the cell and the batteries to 45 degrees Celsius ambient, which then cool it down to 25 degree ambient, then 35 degree ambient. Then we tested for vibrations. We set almost 8 years worth of vibration and shock into a battery, and then we test it again, right? And then we dip it underwater, and then we test it again, right? So that is actually, and then you do it not on one battery, you do it on 10 different batteries. So that's a sampling set, right? So that's our approach that gives us almost 10 times more confidence to say this will work. And of course, we don't stop there. We actually then go test it on the vehicles. The more vehicle testing will happen at the end stages, because by then it's more of a tick mark and to get, I would say, a hygiene check done. But you don't depend on that, because if you're depending on that, then you could have a whole bunch of surprises.
So finally, I'm giving you the opportunity to explain yourself. What is Xponent Energy to our viewers or someone who is willing to choose your technology? So what will it going to be? Those votes, those precious votes.
15-minute charging, 3,000 cycle warranty, scalable, flexible architecture. Any voltage, any number of wheels, any capacity.
Okay, that's it. These are the golden words, less and more valuable.
Yeah, the rest is on the website, and if you're not convinced even after that, then
Here is the $1 million question is, will it handle, is it most of the companies, even the top companies are not going for the detachable batteries, especially the two-wheeler sector and the three-wheeler segment. Will your batteries, if they're going for the detachable battery option, will it going to affect the life cycles?
We think detachable batteries make no more sense, because once you can rapid charge a vehicle in less than 15 minutes, and most times people take 10 minutes to charge a full battery. Why do you need a detachable battery? We think detachable batteries, or a battery swap as a concept, we don't think scales. I think it's more of an add-on solution.
Okay, so what are the charging infrastructure? Because you're interlinking the two commercial markets of electric vehicles. One is the battery segment and the charging stations, and both you are going to parallelly build the infrastructure here. So in this particular aspect, are you going to offer any kind of business to existing entrepreneurs?
Oh yes, I'm a big fan of the entrepreneurial spirit in India, right? And I think that's huge. So you'll be surprised at how much traction we've got on the charging station side. So many small business owners who've got their buildings or got their business who also want to run this on the side. And we think that's a great way to expand and build a decentralized energy economy. And now anyone, you don't have to own a large petrol station to make money on energy, right? You could run a small business on the side, slap on a charging station, and you're selling energy. And I think that concept excites me a lot. And I think a lot of people in India are excited to get on the EV game. And I think my time at Ather taught me that it's not just an early adopter game anymore, right? I think every city in India is now keen on going electric. I mean, if you look at the sort of traction your channel has, right? So it's great to see that, and I think we want to tap into that enthusiasm.
Okay. Yeah. Once again, thank you so much, Mr. Arun Vinayak, to having with the Electric Vehicles channel. And once again, we need to wish these youngsters Exponent Energy, because they come up with a unique solution. Because they are making miracles from a normal lithium-ion cells. They are giving life to that, even faster life. Just 15 minutes, they are able to charge a complete electric four-wheeler, even an electric three-wheeler as well. Even they have plans to expand it for electric trucks as well. So such kind of innovative startups has to come into India, and that should reshape electric vehicle market.
Go green, go electric.